Baruch Hashem. We're not going to waste time. We're going to learn right
Okay,
away.
we're going to learn right away. Okay.
We'll sign after the shiur.
After this shiur, yeah. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelek l'olam haba. This is a maamer that the Rebbe said in Parshas Acharei in the year Tavshin Gimel. We're standing close to the yahrzeit of the Rebbe's brother. I'm learning it also. The cover today is it was the Levaya from Reb Shalom Lipsker, was a shliach.
You had a meeting with him. I tell you to not have a mortgage.
Yes.
Good advice.
Yes.
He was the founder of the.
He was a shliach. He helped a lot of shluchim, I think. I know myself. If I ever called him up, he gave me advice. I went to... And I once went to Florida, and I spent a lot of time with him. Very, very nice. And he tried to help me. So, yeah, a pordol is gekumen. He tried with his whole heart.
Exactly. When my son David Yosef got married, he came to the Acharei. I gave him the book that he wrote, 2 books. So he had a little bit like, here's the future. I see all the way. Said the vision. I started reading.
He was Hamol Lubavitch is like your father in Eretz Yisrael.
He started from zero. So when he came to Florida, they told him, you're not going to buy a house over there.
Right.
The Jew.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem. And
he's one of the few shluchim that not have a previous, always have plus in the bank, but huge shluchim on that.
Right. Very much liach. Baruch Hashem. So there's
The Alpha Institute?
the Aleph Institute.
The one that my son went.
Yeah, that your son is always going. Yeah. That's his thing. The Aleph Institute is his thing. Okay, so Lekovid, Lezech and Shmosoi, today was his Levaya. It was Nifton Shabbos, he's very young, he's 78 years old. He's not I don't know, right, but he lived, and every moment he used very wisely. So Lekovid him, we'll learn the Maimitz from this week's Parsha, the most Kedoshim. Exactly. So, so we made him at learning the Maimitz. It's a very geschmack Maimer, and the Rebbe said it in Tavshin Gimel in this week's Parsha, and the Rebbe gave it out the Rebbe gave it
the yahrzeit of the Rasha.
Acharei. Yes.
He passed away, I think,
Yeah. You remember? See, I mean, it's not order. Yeah. You worked with him, right? The Rebbetzin, you had the schus to talk to the Rebbetzin.
Yes, because of him.
So he was able to give him the chosset to Rebbe, and the Rebbe came to his Levaya, B'chulu. The Rebbe gave out special maimer, this maimer. Okay. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelek l'olam haba, the Pirush of Haba, the Mishnah Zohar, the Matzkiya. Kedmuchim ha'efsheh v'cha Mishnah ve'elu she'en lam chelek l'olam haba. Oimer et tchis ha'meisim min ha'Torah, shetam al zehu kedisa b'gemara hu kafem tchis ha'meisim, u'fikach lo yeh l'chelek v'tchis ha'meisim. Mida keneged mida. So we see that when you say Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelek l'olam haba, it means olam ha'tchiyah. Because then we say Eilu she'ein lam chelek l'olam haba, and we say a person that says Tchis HaMesim is not Torah, it's Mida Keneged Mida. So we say we're talking about Tchis HaMesim. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelek l'olam haba means the beginning. See mi alam harashanu nechlik ha'am avet levidosh. No, yeah. Oh, sehr gut. Yishkoya shesh nekam etnoim k'dei lalas l'Gan Eden afil l'Gan Eden tach. In order to get into Gan Eden, there's many levels, and you have to have a condition to get in. The Chiddush is that Nel Matchia Yid get rein. Tzarech lo haben Acharei agilu shaya. Ve'el Matchia u'nai Yosef harbe Yosef magilu to Gan Eden. Gam magilu shel Gan Eden elyon. El Matchia is much greater than any Gan Eden. Madrega achi nai l'shel Gan Eden. U'gumu v'gam ha'inyan. It's amazing. They come and take Kol Yisrael. Gaman Shamash and Sadakan and Kamal Afishana. The Gimel Pam Choyim him Misala and Madrig analysis Yosef after came lost lovely Saab should be goofing. Kiayilu the Matchil and Nile Yosef. Magilu the Ganaden Gamadreg Achin Nile is the Ganaden. There's a Pashta Raya that Olam Matchi is greater than Ganaden. Avram Avinu is going to want to wake up and go out of Gan Eden and come to Olam Matchiyah. But why? The Gan Eden is greater. Muslims sagen, der Olam Atchiyah is greater. Afal Pichein, Leilis, Keslagil, the Gan Eden, Tzorich Lias, Kama Tenoi. Vagile, der Olam Atchiyah, Yihye, Lechol, Yisrael. Sapella. Not everyone goes to Gan Eden. Not everyone goes to Gan Eden. And in Gan Eden, some go here, and some go here, and some go here. But Olam Atchiyah is greater than the biggest level in Gan Eden. Yet, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek. Favos. Why is it the Gan Eden is so much greater and Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek? Favos. Very geschmack Gemeimet. Very yesodistic Gemeimet. Given ze behek de mabir di ze shakilu al matziu mavi yosel agil the Gan Eden. After the Kimish Gan Eden Olam Hashem's why Taka is Olam Atchiyah much better than Gan Eden? Why is it Naila Yosef?
The goof is Nile.
Why? Heute, Kimish Gan Eden Olam Hashem's. Hashem is below good. Olam Atchiyah Hashem is below good. מה הביר זה שאומר מתחיל, כשנשם מתאים לבשת בגוף גשמי, יגיע לנעל יסף מגן עדן. הגם שלא עושה לו ויהיה הגוף פתח לך זכרו. כמו הגוף של עוד מרישן יצא קאפ של שבורף שהויה מקה גלגל חמה. The goof is going to be very pure, it's going to be similar to other medicine, we say the mizu. The goof of other medicine was so pure that the chama paled. The beauty of the chama and the shine of the chama was small compared to Adam. Adam was bigger than the chama. Wow. Say to me, so also the go betach Hashem said, yes, in the Kamaisha Adam Marishan, Izel lo Chayre, you Rakal Zeshalo, so you the Hashem Salabash Beguf and Kalim Makaba Gil and Nalias and Magill Shem Skalash and Hashem Belog. This is explaining how a Shayach that lots of love it should be that Hashem Beguf should get such an unbelievable Gil. That explains how it's shaykh. But why dafke they have to be this way? Why must be to have a goof? The Agbolos of a Dove Gashmi is very strong. Kama Agbolos Manamokum, she be Kibidwan Gashmi, so I'm thinking of flesh and Shama Tokam Kabbalah Gil, the loss of loving. It has to have a good gashmi, and it can't work without a good gashmi. The whole thing of Gan Eden is you have to undress from gashmis. There's a concept of a tefillah benar denur. He tovels in a river of fire to forget what's going on in this world. So, al der is a baliz when Eden natsma, shkol alit tzarich liz tchil l'shkoyach asog batanik da madrege tachtone. Fidel agabel agil also love it, oidesh l'm shabesh es beguf gash. So, back to the first question. Why is it the Gan Eden, there's many levels in Gan Eden. Some deserve, some don't. Some get little Gan Eden, some get big Gan Eden. And by Tchias HaMeisim, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek. And even though you're going to tell me that the body of a Jew is going to be pure in the days of Tchias HaMeisim, that's very nice. To explain how it's shayach that even though there's the limitation of a goof, still he could get old so much really. But Hagufa, why does it must be that? Very interesting.
There's a witness on which goof. That's the question.
It is
Someone
interesting.
cannot make any mitzvahs, a book can make mitzvahs.
Right. The funny thing is that a few months ago I went through an arichas that the Rebbe had with the Rashag, a discussion that the Rebbe has with the Rashag, and he talks about the mile of a goof. And Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek Olam Haba. Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. You could look in
like I'm going to explain to you in a mimer what I'm talking about. Wow.
Yeah. Mamish, it's unbelievable funny. Look in the Rishima, when he went to be Menachem Avraham Tov Shalom Adalad, the Rebbe spoke for a long time. the whole mile of Daf Ketchis Ameisim and Daf Keneshama Beguf. And then for the Rashag Shloishim, they ever gave Daf this Maimed about the mile of the Neshama Beguf. It's very interesting. See, if it says in the post, no, but that we're page Reishut Ches. Over there it means something else. There's a Oitza Shem Neshamas Rashi says in heaven. Sheshmoi Guf. And over there in that Oitza is all the Neshamas.
Yeah.
And when all the Neshamas will go out from that Oitza,
then Mashiach
is going to come.
I thought when you have more babies.
Yeah. When you have enough babies.
Right,
so Eden will have a lot of babies. We need to have a lot of babies. Yeah.
I learned this week that whatever you used to like, the drink teenage milk.
Yeah. Okay, very good. If you drink a lot of teenage milk, you might become a rebbe.
No, it's
The cookies just have chocolate.
Which cookies are shahako?
No cake.
The Pesach liquor. Okay, man.
okay.
Okay.
We're ready for Pesach Sheni, yeah?
Oh. My little one got scared when she read about Pesach Sheni. She got scared. We're going over. It's like heavy. Starting noodles. Wow.
I hear.
Had a very hard time to barely hear anything.
אלה צ'יזים.
היה שמחה, אמרתי, כן? ברוך השם.
Here. I was in Kern Heights today, and I went into the bookstore. Anaya Sefer, Anaya Zach. He said, "Yeah, I just got a shipment of a Sefer." And it says the Zayda Tshuva Rebbe. He used to give Tishin all the time. And Naftali Tzvi Zayda Tshuv. No. A Rebbe was yeah. Monsi Rebbe.
Okay, one of these new guys, yeah.
And he to make a lot of he make
on the Parsha?
No. He make a lot of tishon for the Yortzeit of Tzaddikim, and he put together a sefer for year 7 every day another Yortzeit of a Tzaddik. Gimel year is Rabbi Shaila Kerestir. Okay, next.
Hey here. Satna.
No, hey, the talking about it's the Torah on their sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Vov here is the Zayde from Naftuli of Rovshitz.
Yeah.
The Staftain Zayde.
How come we skipped the Sadman? Doesn't count?
No, what?
It's hey here.
Hey, yeah.
What? What hey here?
Again, Yom HaShmot.
The outside.
No.
But it's also, I thought it's people posted, no?
They say Tacham Bedafta.
No, it's not. Anyway,
No, hey here, because it's hey here.
on Vov year, which is today, there's a few
That's why I
tzaddikim.
make the, it's the time to use the breath.
What's this?
Yeah. Oida Netza. I went into the bookstore, guys. I bumped into Nachi Salzman. I walked into the bookstore. I saw that's got a protest, but they should take you. So
It's a wrong toy store.
yeah, it's my toy store. So even though a lot of Svarim you can get today online, but some Svarim, like these new Svarim, they don't go online for another who knows how many years. Or sometimes they never go because these people, they're not makbid to go to bring it into national libraries to bring it. They're not. Some people machabris Svarim, they make sure they send 5 copies to the National Archives in Israel. They'll send it to the Library in Congress. They'll, and eventually it ends up
big on that.
for sure. But there are machaber sefer hazeh. He printed 2,000 copies. He's selling it in Borough Park and in Williamsburg and in Crown Heights. Then when it's going to be finished, it'll be finished. It'll take 25 years. I'll never get on to Eitzah Chachma quickly. So I buy it. Anyway, so I want to share a story. From the Imre Yosef of Spink. So the Tzirusach, the Kedavan, and the Spinky Shtibel on Friday nights. So, beautiful story. Beautiful story.
Which reference?
And in Crown Heights,
Which one is the story?
this is the Imre Yosef. I think it's one of the first. It's the father of the Chakal Yitzchak. Second, the first.
Not more
Pinker Rebbe. No. The first Pinker Rebbe. So the story was told like this: that once by Charlotte Shudas, it's negated to our mind. That's why I'm telling the story. It's a funny story. That all of a sudden he started to cry. He was crying and crying. Mitten amol, he broke out in a laughter and he couldn't stop laughing. So the lady explained that what happened. He said that he saw that they're schlepping a Yid to Gehenna. And the Yid was in big Tsar Godel. And the Yid didn't want to go. It was after Shabbos. He didn't want to go back to Gehenna. The Yid was crying. So he was crying for the Yid. All of a sudden, the Yid says to the Malach, the Yid says, how can you take me to Gehenna? I'm a Chosid, I'm a Spinka Chosid, and my Rebbe is still praving Tish. The Malach said, Tish, Shmish. Again, the fires of Gehenna were turned back on. Reb Klal Yisrael, Mishnah gesagt, Meid Urachim. Time to go back to Gehenna. And the Yid is crying. He says, no, my Rebbe still has Tish. So the guy said, okay, you know what? The Malach said, we'll take you to Bez and Shomayla. So took him to Bez and Shomayla. He said, my Rebbe still has Tish, so I have time. I don't want to go back to Gehenna. So they said, who's the Rebbe? So he said, the Imre Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Meir of Smink. So in Bez and Shomayla, they started to laugh. Rabbi Yosef is Shonech geworden Rebbe. That's what he's saying. And they started to laugh. There was so much laughter, they forgot about it. Oh, don't worry, fine. Let's stay out of Gehenna. So he said that's why he started to laugh. He cried because he saw the Yid Nebuch mishlept him in Gehenna. But then when they said this, he started to laugh. I think it's
This is
a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned a lot of Saschon. My son-in-law is itself the inside.
Yeah, very nice. Okay.
It's a very good
Okay, let's go to his Gimel. So we said that Gan Eden, not every Yid is able to go to Gan Eden, but Tchias Mason, every Yid, was heute Gan Eden is lower, and Tchias Mason is bigger. And for what's Taka? And what's Taka, the Indian of Tchias Mason, the mile of Neshama Beguf? Hine, Ksiv, Zesa Tera Adam, Shadam, Shatere Bedugmas Adam. K'moisha Adam, or Neshama Beguf, Neshama, just like a person has two things. There's a page ratio of Ches, or he's going. Just like a person has two parts to him, he has a guf and a neshama. That is over Torah. Sheyesh bo a guf and neshama. In general, there's a big difference of Torah mitzvahs. The Ramach mitzvahs are called the Ramach Evorim the Malka. Al derech Evori aguf. The Chazal say there's a Ramach mitzvah say the Ramach Evorim the Malka. And in Torah Sasoid, it's not stam. It's these are the Ramach Evorim of the Eibishter. Torah Yodam Ea Nefesh. Shum Shechas Chayiv is by Evorim the mitzvahs. זהו שהמצווס הם בזמן המוקם והתורה למעלה בזמן המוקם שלכן כל העסק בתורה סוילה כאילו יקרב אוילה וגם כשאין בזמן המוקם הקרבה כי הגוף הוא גשמי הוא מוגדר בזמן המוקם והנשמה שירוכנס למעלה בזמן המוקם כמו שבתורה מצווס עצמם על דרך זו בנגיע לשחוסם לתורה המצווס לא עודם עליהם אלא מקיים מצווס תלמד התורה שייך בעיקר להנשמה וקיום המצווס להגוף so two nekudas. Summarize two nekudas. Torah mitzvahs. Torah is like the blood that goes in all 613 evorim. The mitzvahs are called the Ramach Evorim the Malka. The same thing with Gabi Yid. That the Limda Torah is a shaykh is bika to the neshama, and the Kiyama mitzvah is a shaykh bika to the guf. The film he has to press on the kiboidus, on the kotke. He has to hold with his hand the lulav and the esrog. And the Indian of doing the Torah is more shaykh than the Shama. When you do it, there's a Torah mitzvahs. So Torah mitzvahs nimshcha begolui. So the golui we see the Torah is higher than mitzvahs. Avol b'shorsham and mitzvahs emnalam yosef. But in their source, mitzvahs is bigger. The Torah he chachmas is barach. But mitzvahs is to the tzayin. Ratzon shalamaylich na chachma. We say that Ratzon is higher than chachma. Same as the Gamal Achsha Torah mitzvahs Boba and Amshach and Nikar Begolo in Malas mitzvahs. Why the Torah he Piru should be ha mitzvahs? So the Torah came to explain how to do the mitzvahs. So bottom line that Begolo Torah is higher, but Beshorsh mitzvahs are higher. וזה מובן שהדרך זה ונשמה בגוף שבעוד שם בדוגמה תורה מצווה. וגם שחייס הגוף ומהנשמה שורש הגוף ולמעלה משורש הנשמה. Always we think that how does the goof live from the neshama? Neshama shenasata bi. That the neshama gives chayis. A person goes to sleep in the morning, he wakes up and the neshama come back. He says, "Thank you, Hashem, for giving me back the neshama." So how does a person live through the neshama? But the truth is that the shorish haguf u'l'mayla m'shorish haneshama k'mavur b'makom acher sha'ava diskasher d'kadosh baruch hu Yisrael mitzad nishmosam is bonim atam l'shem alakeshem ikamei ava tivus kivyochu. Al derech avas av l'bnoi v'hainu sheshorish avazum u'madrege sheshayach l'shem tvitzas mokom v'anev ve'enim atzmusei mamash mashen ken ava v'diskasher d'kadosh baruch hu Yisrael mitzad haguf shalahem hiloi mitzad maylas haguf וגם לא מצד מיילס דבן, מייל עצמיס, אלא מצד זה שקדוש ברוך הוא בוחר, והגוף תישראל בבחירה חופשיס, שבחירה זו היא מעצמוסי. So we're saying that the Hava, that the Eibishter has to Eden has a shaykhus neshama. And that has limitations, just like we say, the Eibishter loves a Jew like a father loves a child. A father loves a child, why? Because that's the teva. Every teva has limitations. What are the limitations of the teva? The Eibishter is not limited, but for it, we're saying it's bedugma, right? The Eibishter made that the father loves his children, so we should understand how the Eibishter loves us. So there's a tfisa smokim because we are choshev, so the Eibishter loves us. And it's not the bechira that the Eibishter has, and even if the Yid is no miles, it doesn't matter because the Eibishter is the boichad.
That's so. Then the whole purpose of the neshama is without the goof does not have earning to
There's a mile in each one. The mile and the neshama.
Hatzim that we have a goof gashim in this world is very important.
Very important.
And that's basically takes away the say that the neshama for itself is nothing.
Now we understand the mile of Tchiyas HaMeisa. And that's why the Alter Rebbe always calls in this word that the Bechira is dafk in the goof. Because the Maila of the Yid has a certain Maila dafk in the goof.
Because the neshama, when it's the neshama itself, there's no ben and vas. There's no, the neshamas are all the same. But the goof gashmi has
That's in
perspective.
Saying that the neshama, the Maila of the neshama has a Maila. And the goof has no Maila. It's only outside the Bechiras, but inside the Eibishter.
But you're saying over here, son and a father, the love in the son and the father. You cannot have that love if there's no guf gashmi created by the other human being.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that with Eibishter connection to Yid, mitzad the neshama, it's like a father and a son. Mitzad the guf, it's not like a father and a son. And it's more. What's the meaning of a father of his son? Because the son is choshev to the father, so he likes his son. Emes tachshivus of a son is because it comes from the father. But for it, the child is a metzias b'fnei atzmai, and the father has the kid is choshev in his father's eyes. Shenken bechiris atzmos is that it's all mitzad Eibishter, and because it's all mitzad Eibishter, there's a mila in it. So there's a mila in the connection of the Eibishter with the guf, than the connection the Eibishter has with the neshama.
The Tanya doesn't say that. The Rebbe says more than the Tanya in a way.
Explaining the Tanya.
The Tanya said this. He leaves it as a statement. Doesn't explain.
Kemzain, Pegram test. Zeguf Hashanah Nimshach is like it's a goof. Why did the Eibush to make that the neshama comes to give chayes to the goof? Forget because the goof has such a maila, so the kilu the neshama comes to service the goof. Similar to this, that the Torah gives a pirush for the mitzvahs. הנה ידוע, זה שפים לקיים המצווס כל ישראל הם שווים, וכי הבדלים לתורה יש כמה וכמה מדרגות, ויש ואויל שיש להם פנאי הכי בגיסא ביום הולד כפשוטה, בעל העסקים יוצא מדי חבוסם בפרק אחד שאחרי, פרק אחד ערבס, הוא כמצווס עם רצון עליון, ברצון על המייל מצחלקוס, We find that lagabe learning Torah there's different chiyuv. One person must learn a perek echet shachris, perek echet harvis, and as long as he does that, he's good enough. And another person has to learn kipshut v'gisa b'yom v'layla, depending on the circumstances. Lagabe mitzvahs, we never say that. Every Yid is mechuyev to put on film. Every Yid is mechuyev to have a mezuzah. Every Yid is mechuyev to take a lulav and a esig, to eat a kazayis matzah. We don't say that there's a difference between, a big tzaddik eats 2 kazayis, a small tzaddik eats 1 kazayis. Everyone has the same thing. We say that mitzvahs, afila poishi Yisrael, are full of mitzvahs, just like a pomegranate is full of seeds. Shenkim the Torah who why is it that Chazal say that when it comes to mitzvahs, even poishi Yisrael are full of mitzvahs? We don't say like Gabi Torah. That even Amaoritz is a hidden Talmud Chochem.
Impossible.
It's a steer when they obey. It's Amaoritz, Amaoritz. It's like Amaoritz Chassid. Forget. It's Amaoritz, Amaoritz. That's it. But we say that even poishi Yisrael malay mitzvahs kirimen. Kimisha mitzvahs heim rotzen elyon. V'shayochim laguf shabo yobchilas ha'atzmos. L'chein inyan zeh v'kiyum ha'mitzvahs u'b'chol Yisrael. Because Torah is a shaykhus to neshama, and therefore it could be, unfortunately, a person that's lacking. But the mitzvahs is a shaykhus to the guf, because and therefore yedid hotas. So kol Yisrael yesh lo chelek l'olam haba, agam shegilu d'olam haba, olam atchiyu nailu yos. This can answer the original question. What was the original question? The original question was that in Gan Eden we say it's not easy to get into Gan Eden. There's low, high level. Some people get in, some people don't get in. Even those that get in, they get in a low place, a high place, higher place. And yet we say that the Gan Eden, not everyone gets. But kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba. But why? If Olam Atchi is greater, why is it called Yisrael? The answer is because Gan Eden is a shaykhus neshama. And has a shaykhus also to limit that Torah. So some people deserve and some don't. Some have Talmud Torah, some don't. So some end up in Gan Eden, some don't. Some end up in the lower and some in the higher. Hashenken el matchia, which has a shaykhus to the goof, is called Yisrael Malay mitzvahs kirinan. It has to do with the goof and it has to do with mitzvahs, and therefore it's shaykh to every yid. So called Yisrael yesh lam chelek l'olam haba. Agam shagilu d'olam haba. Unayla yosem agilu Gan Eden. Even the olam haba is greater than Gan Eden. As we said before, Avraham Avinu is already 4,000 years in Gan Eden. He doesn't want to stay in Gan Eden. He wants to come to Olam Atchiyah. Shmami know that Olam Atchiyah is greater. Mikol Mokim, Gilu Zeh Yila Kol Yisrael. Olam Haba, which is Tchis HaMesim, will be for every Jew. Gan Eden, Gilu that Torah Shalom Olam Hazeh. Gan Eden, you learn the depth of the Torah you learned in this world. If you didn't learn, you have nowhere to go. Lots of love, Olam Atchiyah, Gilu that mitzvah Shemakayim After. But when Mashiach comes and there'll be Tchias HaMesim, there'll be a gili of the mitzvahs. The kivin shekiyom ha-mitzvahs of Chol Yisrael Lachein, Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelek lam ba, v'zeh shegil lo yedam atchil, l'nesham es begufen, dafke, kikiyom ha-mitzvah sheach vike laguf, yesh lam et zeh shegil lo yedam atchil, yegam l'nesham es shin slav shal begufen, al derech mam rezal, go to Talmud shevei v'lidei ma'aser shedeh, Talmud v'lidei ma'aser nasab, godless but Talmud, just like we say, that because Torah helped us get to the ma'aser mitzvahs, there's a mile in the Torah. Because the neshama helped the goof, the neshama gets a mile through the goof. He says a very interesting mashal. Contrary to the way it's learned today in yeshivas, that abstract lumdus, but right. The Rebbe Rashab says, when a person is learning a sugi and he knows he has to paskin. I spoke this morning. I don't know if you're ready for a question. This kid is a mamza, this kid is not a mamza. You could say like this, you could say like that. But if you know that you have to paskin right now, mamza or kosher. So you learn the sugi with admitzi and nefesh, because you know it's a very serious thing. And it's on your shoulders. So you're learning the sugya with. So the Rebbe Shav said. So we see that's the godless of Talmud Shemei L'Dei Maisa. When a person knows that this learning is going to bring him L'Dei Maisa, so he's ma'ayin in the sugya much more, and he learns it more ba'amkus. So that's a pshat. Godel Talmud Shemei L'Dei Maisa. The Maisa brings a godless in the Talmud. Same thing when Mashiach will come. There'll be Tchisa Maisa. The neshama is going to give a godless. The goof is going to give a godless into neshama. Okay, so again, summarize. Question, answer. Question was, how could you say that Gan Eden, some people get, some people don't? Some people go in a big place and some people go in a little place. And Tchisa Mason call you so Yeshlam Chelak. But Tchisa Mason is bigger. The answer is that Gan Eden is a shaykhus to Torah. Olam Atchiyah is a shaykhus to mitzvahs. Gan Eden has a shaykhus to neshama. And the Olam Atchiyah is a shaykhus to the guf. And these things are connected. Torah is a shaykhus to neshama a lot. Mitzvahs is a shaykhus to the guf. So therefore, a person didn't learn much Torah. What should he do in Gan Eden? But Kol Yisrael Yeshlam Chelak L'Yisrael Mabah, because Kol Yisrael Malay Mitzvahs Kerimah. Therefore, we'll see when Mashiach comes the mile in the Jewish guf. Today we understand the mile in the Jewish neshama. When Mashiach will come, we'll understand the mile of the neshama is smaller than the mile of the guf. But also Torah will gain through the mitzvahs. Besides the fact that the neshama will be revealed, to kabel neshama gama gilu the milas aguf b'chiras atzmos ba'aguf. So now we understand what kol yisrael yeshlam chelak lo'olam hab. V'hirotz shal yem ha'seirem v'avedeseinem v'frati yedei avodah defutz v'nesach ha'chutza niske l'lilmoid l'limu terotza shal Mashiach mepiv shal Mashiach b'kol mamash. Okay? So it's a very short, very powerful maamar.
Very
Yeah, it's very very sadistic. Because even though it's a very short maamar,
I knew about it. Not done such a
the way it's not such a, it's unbelievable, and it's a sadistic thing. It's a very sadistic thing, and it's not a complicated maamar. It's just that it's such a klorazah. And the funny thing is, like I mentioned in the beginning of the Shiur, the Rebbe had a conversation with his brother-in-law. And his brother-in-law kept on asking him, what's so the Maila of Olam Atchiyah? Rashag, yeah. And so, and the Rebbe, there was once, we spoke about it a few months ago, a discussion they had in Tov Shalom Adalad, and it was like a 3-hour discussion. And the Rebbe's like said, Oit Chazayin Lamoy, that we'll get to it. There's a Maila Dafka in Tchiyas HaMesim. When his brother-in-law, 20 years later, 30 years later, passed away, so look over the shloshim that ever gave this maamar, but the maila of an neshama and a guf. So, as I said, I'm doing this maamar special lakovid. The Rebbe said it in Parshas Acharei Mois, but I'm saying I'm doing it the lakovid Rabbi Lipsker.
I don't think it's so clear.
Huh?
My mom not looking so.
Also, what happened was that in the last 4 years, the Rebbe had this thing. The Rebbe stopped saying my mom. An exception was 2-3 my mom. The Rebbe asked, and the Rebbe wanted that his my mom that he said years before should be written up. Do you remember we had right here sitting here Rabbi Brook? His younger brother used to buy 3 packs of cigarettes and 2 tuna sandwiches or 3 tuna sandwiches at a bill can, lock him up in a room. Like this. I mean, I'm like not chas v'sholem. He used to make sure he had everything. He used to sit for hours and go through all my monim that I write them up. The Rebbe used to sit over it, and the Rebbe used to be magiyat. The Rebbe liked it. It was small hours, and that's why we have a wealth, a well. It's not, it's a well also.
Over 2,000
but all these maimonim were only from the last 3, 4, 5 years that the Rebbe used to write them up, and the Rebbe used to be magiyat them. And that's why they're written up very clearly, very nicely. That's
understandable.
Right.
Basically, the Brook family tradition.
Yes.
It said, Asher Mishabal come from all the way. Put him in 2020, you take more and you're walking around. The Mishabal come from all the way. He loaned. אותי ממאתיים, אותי לא,
זה ש...
השם יתברך.
אוקיי.